I'm Niklas Binzberger. I'm based in Berlin and I'm an artist. Mainly, roughly working in installation. How old? 25. I started to do that work in advance of a travel to Israel and Palestine in 2014, I think. So we were traveling as a group and wanted to do an artwork there to show it back in Berlin. And prior to the travel, I stumbled over fluorescent liquids, which are normally used in contamination contexts. And the final project then was to pour that liquids, which are transparent, into holy water basins in churches in Jerusalem, and then later I went on to Rome and other cities. So what happened is that at least the Catholic believers, the Catholic Christians, went into the churches, and while entering, then dipping their fingers into the holy water basin, and then doing the cross on their body. And then I went on to modify a flash into a UV flash, so it emits just UV light. And under that light, then just for the moment of the flash, the liquid lights up into blue, for example, so that I could take photos of the Christians with the cross on their bodies, and as well of the holy water basins and of the mocked hands. So it's some sort of using that liquid which is coming out of the infection context and projecting it onto religion, ideology, and questioning how you infect someone else with an ideology or a religion. There are two stories. One is that it's very difficult surrounding. In Jerusalem, for example, I experienced a quite hard situation. You had cameras within the church, outside of the church, private security, and as well some military, as it's usual in Jerusalem. So quite difficult circumstances, and it was hard to get good pictures of the people with the cross. And it was more or less, not that extreme, but more or less the same situation in Rome. Then you have lots of tourists who are not that strong believers, who are not doing the ritual. So it's a lot of difficulty as well in dark churches with the light conditions, taking actual photos you can work with. And the other part is I then got some pictures, some good pictures, but if you're just showing four images and then have one person with that private symbol of religion, it's a bit harsh. What I think is strong about the new generation of artists is that they have a different handling of images, a different behavior towards privacy, maybe a bit more openness and fluidity. Yeah. The way I work, I normally have long periods of getting into a theme. Prior to doing that piece, for example, in Jerusalem, to starting with it, I read a lot about missionary involvement of Christian people all over the world. I went for another travel to Mexico and Guatemala, where you have especially in some regions so a strange mixture between native beliefs and Christian Catholic beliefs, and now evangelicals who coming in. And so you're confronted with all of that, and you dig into the context and try to, on one hand, to understand what is going on, to analyze it, how is it done, how does infection work normally, and especially with ideas, and then you try to search for an image or something like an artistic container, how to deliver that analysis towards the recipient. And that's then the following step. I think an exhibition is good if it challenges your thinking, your point of view, if you have to laugh or you reach another level into a certain context that you haven't reached before. So you dig deeper in, you go out with a smile or just more details to that context. And a weak exhibition is something which doesn't touch you at all, like uses an aesthetic or a principle, a working mechanism, which you have seen before 1,000 times, so it's not interesting anymore to you. I'm not sure. Maybe age is reflected in art. I think it, but in good art pieces, it's not. Yeah, in bad art pieces, you can tell how old the author is. What I like about the exhibition is actually the concept of taking early works, like maybe the works where you, as an artist, didn't have a certain mannerism, a way of working yet developed. So the early works are somehow raw, but maybe a bit more authentic. And I like that as a concept to build an exhibition on that. I would call those works early works, but not the earliest. So it's a step already into professionalizing my working method.